This time, I want to invite Mike Deese to come forward for our minute for stewardship. Mike?
Good morning. We all know it's a misnomer. It's not a minute for stewardship. It's several minutes for stewardship, so please excuse that. As Scott said, my name is Mike Deese. I'm serving as chair of the Stewardship Committee this year. Let me begin by thanking the members of this year's committee for their hard work so far. They're Linda Bender, Abby Conley, Roy Mitchell, and Tom Waldrop. And as you might be able to tell, Scott has been deeply involved in our committee's work, and we're thankful for that involvement. Finally, Shan Malone and Sandy Albrecht in the church office are indispensable to what we are trying to do. First, a word to those among us who may be living on fixed incomes and already giving as much money to this church as you're able. The Stewardship Committee is not asking you to give more money than you're able to give. If you have time and talent to give, however, we ask that you consider how you might make an even greater commitment in the coming year. Now, today is Pledge Dedication Sunday, as Scott said. So our committee is hoping that those of you who haven't already done so will all put your pledge cards either in the offering plate today or in the mail to the church. And by the way, if you prefer to do all of this online, you can. If you go to lewinsville.org and click on the Give button and choose Stewardship, you can make your pledge. And if you choose online giving, you can make your online gift. And actually, if any of you happen to miss any of the last 3 weeks' services, I would encourage you to go to the website and view the minutes for stewardship that were offered by Linda, Abby, and by David Foster last week. They're also on the Give drop-down menu under the Stewardship. I'd like to make a special mention here to the parents among us. If you have children who were confirmed and are members of the church, whether they're still at home, off at college, or maybe even graduated from college and moved away, please impress upon them the fact that this coming year, our denomination will assess our church, Lewinsville, the very strange amount of $39.91 for each one of them. If your kids are like my kids, they have no clue about this. I believe, though, that all of our children will understand that it's their obligation to support the church in which they've grown up, which they've learned, and hopefully had their characters molded. So please remind your kids. Let me give you a quick update on where the campaign stands as of a couple of days ago. The very preliminary news from Shan Malone in the church finance office is encouraging. As of this past Thursday, we had received 62 pledges, and I'm happy to report that 37 of those were increases over last year. The average increase so far has been 12.9%. Last year, we received 193 pledges in total. This year, we hope to receive more, and we're already headed in that direction. We've already received 5 new pledges out of those 62. I'd also like to say a quick word for those of you who support the church financially, but for whatever reason have chosen in the past not to pledge. This year in particular, it's important that you consider pledging. The church, and the session in particular, needs to have a good idea of how much financial support is going to be there in order to plan for 2018. As you've read in the materials that you received in the mail, and as you've heard, the committee's asking all of us to consider a 10% or greater increase in your pledge. Most people know that the total raised each year is around $1 million. Everybody also knows we have around 200 families that pledge. So I urge you to resist the temptation to determine your fair share merely by determining what the average is. That's easy math. It's $5,000. For a bit of perspective, we have pledges ranging from as little as $52 a year, as you might expect from some of our students, to almost $50,000 a year. I would suggest that there's no such thing as a fair share when it comes to one's financial commitment to Lewinsville. The issue is this: do you believe in what the church is called to do? And if so, what's your ability to support that calling financially? It's not what is my fair share. Some people may think that the church is not making a significant enough impact to justify an increase in their pledge giving. As David Foster so eloquently stated last Sunday, all we have to do is look at what we are already doing at Westgate Elementary, at LRR, through the Summer Mission Project, at Share, Homestretch, Christ House, Boost the Troops, Falls Church McLean Children's Center, Missionaries Abroad, and the list goes on and on. If you haven't gone on the website lately, do that and look at all of the things that this congregation is doing in our communities and in broader communities. I guarantee you that those folks who are receiving our talents believe that Lewinsville is impactful. I would also say that if you're looking for something more impactful to support, get more engaged. Help develop an idea for a project or program. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing. We need financial capability even to plan a major program. So why are we doing all this? Why does the church need money, especially this year? I submit it's because we actually have an obligation as Christians to equip ourselves and then go out into the world and speak and live the good news of the gospel. Scott has described it several times as inhaling and exhaling, equipping followed by doing. To be equipped, we need our faith, we need our pastors, we need all of our staff, and we need a functioning building. For years, we have deferred maintaining our church facility, not to mention improving it. And by the way, there'll be more to come in the new year on the issue of building improvements. But at the end of each year, when the session is finalizing the next year's budget and realizes that the funds they had hoped to have aren't going to be there, what always gets cut? Anybody who served on session or on what used to be the admin committee know what that is. It's the building maintenance reserve account. This year, a comprehensive reserve study was commissioned, and the study projects when our building's various systems will need to have major repairs or to be replaced, and at what cost. The conclusion in that report was sobering. Over the next 40 years, we will need to spend an average of $100,000 a year just to keep this building operational. This wasn't a theoretical exercise, it's real. And it's one reason why the Stewardship Committee set a $1.2 million goal for this year's stewardship campaign. That's $100,000 more than last year. It's a stretch, but it's one that we feel that we need to do so that we can deal with reality. So very simply, if we want to continue to be impactful, we're going to need more money for next year. We are a congregation that is openly and unapologetically welcoming to strangers with a thoughtful approach to our faith. We have already been transformed, and yet we're still transforming both ourselves and those around us. This church is equipping us as disciples to be followers of Christ. It's having an impact on many communities that we touch. We have the capacity to do more. On this Stewardship Dedication Sunday, what we request is that we all keep our focus on the cross as we determine our commitment to support Lewinsville financially. Thank you.